What is the best way to watch Dragon Ball Z? Now, in my time, I came up from a different era, probably different from majority of you guys who watch Dragon Ball Z Kai or stuff to that nature, and even on certain, streaming platforms as well. But the thing is, at the time, we watched Dragon Ball in a very pivotal era before Cartoon Network was even born, and then when Cartoon Network was created, we got Toonami, where a lot of people was really introduced to Dragon Ball Z, and that's where I watched the majority of Dragon Ball Z at the time. But in the early episodes, we had the Ocean dubs, and then later on, Funimation took over, and we got Funimation in those later episodes. Now, the thing is, with the Ocean dub, there was a lot of mistranslations when it came to the Ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z. But to me, as a kid watching the series and nostalgic and everything, even though the actors and people feel like some stuff was cringe or whatever they want to call it, it was good as a kid. We didn't care about any of that stuff. We saw something that was a cool show, cool animation, and I love the music and everything. Now, ultimately, if I'm going to say someone to watch Dragon Ball Z, ultimately, if you really want to watch like everyone else, you got to watch the Japanese sub version if you want to get the true story and, pretty much get to follow Dragon Ball Z in that order, where everything having a true story, the right, lines and everything. Now, if you want to watch it where why so many kids that came up to it, and even to this day now, what I do when I go back to watch Dragon Ball Z, I can't watch the new Funimation dub for like the old episodes, because at a certain point I'm so used to that of what we got on Toonami. So I still watch the Ocean dub episodes, because even then some stuff are just so classic. Even Goku versus Vegeta the first time in Ocean dub, the music and everything. And I'm not talking about the sub version, I'm talking about just the English dub version of things. I take the Ocean dub over the Funimation dub when it comes to those older episodes around the time of the Saiyan Saga and early Namek Saga, where later on it changes somewhere around the middle end of Namek is when Funimation kind of take over. You could kind of see it once the voices change to the different actors of Funimation and the people that we know now. But during those early times, the music and everything just felt like a progression, and also I enjoyed it because it felt like the characters was kind of like growing, so the voices change and maybe over time. And that's how I looked at it as a kid, not knowing really about all the back stuff until getting older. So when it really comes down to it, I still watch the Ocean dub episodes because, like I said, just the delivery of Vegeta and his voice on certain moments, like the things that he did before he fired off his Gallic gun, those was epic moments. Or when he's mad and finding out that he got tricked on Namek about the Dragon Balls and the Dragon Radar that was Gohan had, and he was rushing back to find out, what happened to the dragon. So the thing is, it's certain things that's nostalgic, but there's some stuff like, even though the Ocean dub is not the most accurate dub, the music and the vibe and tone and some of the things that does, some things are just golden. Even if it's not the full accurate story, is just golden. So I still watch the Ocean dub for the earlier half of Dragon Ball Z, and then when it switches over to the Funimation, I go into that point where I feel like that stuff was incredible. Like I said, just the music with the Bruce Falconer score and everything up to Vegeta turning Super Saiyan, and just those things. Now, Dragon Ball Z Kai may be the most accurate and probably a little bit more cleaner animation, and it cuts out a lot of the filler stuff. But ultimately, there was a lot of enjoyable fillers in Dragon Ball Z as well that you should definitely check out if you want to check it out. So it's just different time and era. Now, ultimately, when I watched Dragon Ball Z Kai, I feel like the music and certain things played a big part of it. It was like a big puzzle coming together. So when not having that, it does play a factor of like not being the best thing that we have. So ultimately, some new generation will love Kai because that's what they grew up with. And ultimately, it's all about what you grew up with. And for me, is part of the Ocean dub and later on Funimation. So I watch it in that order, even though a lot of places starting to cut out the Ocean dub. But I still have copies of those early episodes as Ocean dub. And I feel like certain stuff was done better, and some stuff later on when Funimation came in, I enjoyed it better. Now, like I said, ultimately Kai is another version. I just don't enjoy Kai as much because the music and everything that I'm used to and certain lines were done a little bit better in Dragon Ball Z. Some stuff are done better in Kai, but ultimately, when you have something that's already done golden, it's like you can kind of like both of the masterpiece, but ultimately I like what I grew up with. So typically nostalgic is going to always beat out over the most accurate and stuff like that, but I still go back just to, you know, look at the stuff that's accurate so I can know the full story and know what's the correct order of things and what's really going on. But for entertainment purposes, I'm going to always go back and watch the series as half Ocean Dub and then majority of Funimation.